In the over 20 years I've been involved in development, I've seen some successes and I've seen some failures. And from the very beginning, the Be Our Choice initiative, as it relates to choice neighborhoods, was done the right way.
It's 2005. We're dealing with Hurricane Katrina and the aftermath of that. We're deeply involved in helping New Orleans and the greater coastal area try to recover from that. And one of the things we needed immediately was housing. And despite having been a resident of this community for years, no one really understood that there was 250 acres of land sitting smack dab in the middle of town.
Choice Neighborhoods is a part of the White House initiative Revitalization, which was created to align federal funding streams to invest in transforming neighborhoods of concentrated poverty into neighborhoods of opportunity.
The Baton Rouge Area Foundation's role from the very beginning has been much more of a thought partner throughout the planning process, and also we've been there kind of as a guiding and steady voice to often act as an advisor for this type of plan.
The Perkins family had given away most of that land to 13 nonprofits. Our idea was if we could get control of the land, we'd start building houses. At the same time, we said, who's going to own and operate this? And so we created the East Baton Rouge Parish Redevelopment Authority.
Build Baton Rouge came together and acquired 200 acres in the middle of the city with the opportunity to create a community of choice. In November 2013, the mayor's office and partners, including the East Baton Rouge Parish Housing Authority and LSU, were awarded a 2-year Choice Neighborhoods Planning Grant.
About 10 years or so ago, when I was a young person sitting on the Baton Rouge Area Foundation board, prior to me ever coming to work there, I'd often heard about Ardendale for so long from the former president and CEO, John Davies, and I didn't really know what it was until years later when I started hearing about the grant application that was out there, in hopes that we would win it one day to bring something that was new and innovative to the Baton Rouge area.
This planning grant pretty much provided the structure and the outline of how we were going to transform this disinvested neighborhood.
We were sure when we began over in Melrose East that we brought in the children and their parents and the business owners, the churches in the area, and we had them all at the table and we gave them just a little snippet, and we let them put the meat on the bones.
Focuses on people, housing, and neighborhood. It not only focuses on Ardenwood Village as the epicenter of redevelopment, but it also ripples out into the other surrounding community. Smiley Heights, East Fairfields, Melrose East.
Affordable housing is key to our growth and development here in the city and parish.
City Parish, my office, the Housing Authority, has heard the concerns, has heard the cries for investment in an area like the Ardenwood area, and we're meeting that need. Like any project, it takes time, it takes funding, but once you get the funding, it takes time to get it done.
In 2018, we called that same group back to show how we were deserving of this opportunity. In 2019, HUD saw our vision of resiliency, innovation, and placemaking, and they awarded us a $30 million Choice Neighborhoods Implementation Grant.
I'm excited about maybe comprehensive nature of the Choice Neighborhoods. It truly is a neighborhood because it includes, for example, a grocery store, it includes a school, it includes a community college, and it also includes an arts and cultural component.
As much as people want safe and accessible communities, they want to be close or somewhere near to some workforce opportunities, but they also just want to have fun and enjoy their neighborhoods and their neighbors.
The streets there have names after some of the most famous artists. We produced some significant murals and added elements of the neighborhood in it, elements from the state, like the state capitol, and Baton Rouge, we did the old Mississippi River Bridge.
I think that it stands as a shining example of how people working together can really make what they thought was impossible happen.
In order to have a vibrant community, you need partnerships from everyone, and so that includes housing and parks and schools, and the list goes on and on.
We surround ourselves with partners that allowed us to really come together to create sustainable communities. The Louisiana Office of Community Development, which provided significant community redevelopment funds. The Louisiana Housing Corporation, which clearly understood the plight of the development community during this time, Our philanthropic community also understood some of these things as it relates to supplementing some of our construction costs and professional services costs.
The mayor's office, her administration, and my council colleagues, we work collaboratively to fund projects throughout City Parish. Obviously, this project is in District 6. We contributed some $15 million to the project. HUD contributed another $30 million to the project.
We are creating a neighborhood and not just housing. I'm very glad to say that the city invested over $8 million of ARPA funding to help develop this Choice Neighborhood program. And we know that this particular additional opportunity will add enormous value in so many ways to our growth, our development, and our neighborhoods.
I think education has been said to be the spine of the entire initiative. Oftentimes, folks who live in underserved communities don't necessarily have access to high-quality education. Our role is to ensure that there is access for all of the families and their children who live in the area.
I've watched as young kids from the neighborhood have walked in the automotive training center and looked at shiny cars and looked at equipment and things that they could touch and feel and understand that, wait a minute, I can go here. I can be trained to work on these automobiles.
If you look at the Ardendale master plan, was a community-driven and community-curated solution to their transformation. And so in December 2023, we closed on our first phase. 170-unit family community, Cypress at Ardendale, our first multifamily deal in this redevelopment. We're proud of that.
This Choice Neighborhood project is right up the road from our main office, and so I get a chance to drive by it every day, coming and going, and I'm looking at the wonderful progress that's been taking place, and I can't wait to see it completed. It's going to be a wonderful housing facility for a lot of great people.
So when we talk about the Choice Neighborhood project, I'm glad to say that the city has a very significant component of that, and that includes one of our MOVE EBR projects, the Ardenwood-Lobdale Connector.
Connect Road is going to remove the barriers that potentially exist when there are facilities, when there are resources so close, but oftentimes a small barrier can prevent families from having access.
When we talk about developing a neighborhood, we need to have mobility and modality.
In District 6, we trying to revitalize the area. A few essential needs that anyone has to have a decent quality of life is access to banking, access to affordable housing, access to health care, access to a quality job.
If, in fact, we are able to be successful in creating this community in a way that children have access to high-quality education, is one that needs to be duplicated throughout our community, throughout our state, and then throughout the nation, to ensure everywhere in our state, in our city, and in our country, students and families who live in underserved communities have access to high-quality programming so that they earn a high-quality education, so that they are prepared to do things when they leave.
What's the next 10, 12, 15 years look like in terms of public education? What are the challenges with the change in technology as the world changes rapidly? How do we adapt and bring the ideas and make them available to the least in our community? Because they're the ones who need the most.
You know, I think it could be a template. I think it can be an example of what can be done at in other neighborhoods and other parts of the community. This is not just solely for folks for areas that have been underserved over the years. This could also be for developing parts of the parish as well.
We've talked about this for the past 10 years. Now people can see the progress. This is what planning, partnership, collaboration, this is what community redevelopment looks like. This is the way we celebrate. This is the way we recognize our efforts, because it just doesn't stop here. This shall serve as a shining example of what we are and who we are as Baton Rouge.